this is Ginny, and we are back in the kitchen today, and I am just overrun with vegetable scraps. We save all our scraps, we don't throw anything away, and we leave these in the freezer until we have enough to make a vegetable stock. So this is really great stuff. These are all just leftover pieces that we didn't use, like a little piece of onions, the broccoli stems. We don't really cook those and eat them. Everything that we just didn't get around to using, or the pieces we cut off, like the hard pieces of cabbage are in here, things like that. So we're going to pull these out and we're going to make some vegetable stock today. Let's get started. So we have got 6 quart-size bags filled with veggies, green beans, celery, onions, green onions. We've got carrots, cabbage, different kinds of peppers, broccoli, all sorts of stuff, really. It's all vegetables. There's some cauliflower over here mixed in with this stuff. And this is just like when we peel our carrots, we save the peelings. We don't really eat the peelings, but they're great for vegetable stock. There's lots of nutrition in there, and lots of flavor. So all the pieces like you don't normally eat, but you know they're loaded with nutrition and everything. We just pop it right in a bag, and when the bag is full, we start another bag. So this one's like mostly peppers and onions, but it's not quite full, but it's quite a bit in there. We had a couple meals where we only used part of a pepper, and we didn't want to toss that out, so I just saved those, and there we have it, some green onions, peppers, and regular onions. So, and like the broccoli stems are kind of tough for eating, and we don't really eat them, so instead of throwing them away, they get tossed in these bags. So we're going to put these veggies, frozen, we're going to throw them right in the pan, and we're going to fill them up with water and boil them down a little bit and get all the nutrients, as much nutrients as we can out of these veggies, so we have a beautiful vegetable stock in the pantry, so when we're ready to make some soups and stews and things like that. And it's great for flavoring rice or whatever. It's good for tons of recipes, so anything that calls for a liquid stock. So we're going to toss these in a couple of pans, because I don't have a pan big enough to put all of these in. So we're going to fill the pans up about halfway, and then we'll add some water. Okay, so we've got our veggies in the pot, and now we're just going to fill this up with water. Alright, so our pots are all filled up. We've got 2 big pots going. I don't really know the exact size of these, but this one's probably 6 quarts, and this one's maybe 8 quarts. But there's a little more than a gallon size bag of vegetables in here, which gives it a little more than halfway, and there's all the rest of everything in here. So we are going to turn these on high, put these up on high, and get them started. Once they come to a full rolling boil, we're going to turn them down to a simmer and let them simmer for about an hour. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. And we'll get that up on high. We're going to pop some covers on these. And, oh, noisy. And they are ready to go. And just for a quick money-saving tip, we save these plastic bags. The only thing that goes in these are vegetable scraps. So I'm going to rinse these out. We'll get them dried up. And when I have more vegetable scraps, I will start reloading these and putting them back in the freezer. So this is a little money saver. Every penny counts. I also do not have a fancy bag dryer, but I know they're not hugely expensive, but this works great. I just clip my bags to my curtain with some clothespins, and it drips right down into the sink, and it works perfectly. So those will be dry later, and I won't have bags hanging in my window tomorrow. Okay, so we are to a full boil, and I'm going to turn this down to simmer now. If I was going to add any spices or anything to this is the good time to do it, right when it starts boiling. Put all your spices in so it can simmer down together and get the flavors really in there. I'm not adding any spices just because I'm not sure how I'm going to use it. It's a stock, and I'll add my spices when I use it if I'm making soups or anything like that. So if I put anything in it right now, I don't want it to forget exactly what was in it and then the flavors be overbearing. So we're going to turn this down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 1 hour. This is all simmered down, and you can see it is a nice, beautiful golden color, that stock. So this is ready to use we're going to strain it out. And there's even a piece of ginger in there. This is going to be so good. It smells absolutely amazing. So we are going to strain this out and jar it up because I cannot use both of these pots full of stock today. So we're going to can it in the pressure canner. So let's get the strainer. We've got our stock all cooked. It's still kind of hot. We let it cool down a little bit. And now we're just going to strain it out. And for ease purposes, I'm going to use this big, you can see the color is just gorgeous. We're going to run it through this strainer into a bowl, and all of the vegetables, they still have a little bit of nutrients left in them, so we really don't want to throw them away. So this is going to go out to our chickens as a treat later. All the vegetables that get strained out of this. Put it right in a chicken bowl for them. So we're just going to strain all this out. I don't think all the liquid's going to fit in this bowl. That's why I'm not just dumping the whole pan in. But and then as we get our liquid out from under here, all that beautiful vegetable stock right there. We are going to jar this up. We've got our jars all washed up and cleaned, and we've got our rings. Our lids are on the stove getting warm. We're going to put this right into jars. So I like to can this in pints because that's the size that I use most often. I can grab 2 if I need to, but I don't usually use a quart, only on a couple of recipes. Most of the time I use it in pints, so that's how I can it. All strained, and there's a little itty bits of veggies in there, but that's okay because we like them. And I'll make soup with some of these. Some of these will put, like the vegetable stock is really great for in the crock pot with a pot roast or a vegetable soup or whatever you're making. So you just want to, we're just filling up our jars, and we're going to leave a 1/2 inch headspace, which should be right about there, just above that rim. And we're going to fill up all our jars, and then we'll get our lids and rings on. Okay, so anytime you're canning, you are going to want to, I use a wet paper towel, or you can use a wet cloth or whatever, but you just want to wipe your rims to make sure that there is nothing, no grease or any debris or anything on there. And then one of your warmed up lids, put that right on top, and a ring, and you just want these finger tight. And that is, can't get it on there. This one-handed thing isn't working. So, and you just want those finger tight. So they have room to get the air out when the vacuum works at the end. So that is it for, and then we're gonna, once we get all our lids and rings on, we're gonna pop this right in the pressure canner, and I will bring you back when I get to that point. Okay, so we ended up with 18 or 19 pint-sized mason jars. They are this big. I've got some wide mouth and some regular mouth ones. They're just kind of mixed together, whatever we had available. So I've got 9 in the bottom of my canner, and I'm going to put a rack on these and put 9 more in. We've got 18 pint jars in my 22 quart, 23 quart, one of those. It's a Miro pressure canner. And I'm going to put the lid on this. I've just turned it up on high. We're going to get the steam going on here. And once the steam is coming out, we're going to give it 10 minutes, and then we'll add our 10 pounds of pressure. Our little 10-pound jiggler thingy. So we'll just put that right on as soon as we get up to steam, and I'll bring you back when we get there. Okay, so we had one lowly jar. I can only get 18 pints in my canner. So I had one jar left out of the stock that I'm not going to can. I'm going to throw this in the fridge. It'll be good for a couple of weeks in there, just like this. So even, you know, you don't have to seal it. If you only are making a small batch of a couple quarts and you're going to use it right up, then you don't have to can it. But I like to make a whole bunch at once just to make it simple and easy. And that way I can can it. It can be on the shelves for months and months and months, and I don't have to worry about it. And when I have enough scraps, I'll make another batch. We've got a good steady stream coming out, so we are going to put our 10-pound weight on there. And once it's jiggling solid, we will start our timer for 20 minutes. Okay, so our jiggler is going nice and strong, and we're going to set our timer for 20 minutes because we're doing pints. And if you're going to do this in quarts, then you want to can them for 25 minutes. And we'll be back when they're done. Okay, so our jars are all done canning, and we waited for the steam, the pressure to come down on its own. And once it came down, then I took the cover off, take the little weight off, and then the cover. And you just want to make sure it cools down all on its own, and so not to get burned. And then we got our jars out. They're still pretty hot, but we're going to let them sit on the counter overnight, and so they can cool down. And in the morning, we'll remove our rings and make sure everything is clean. They all look pretty good, but we'll wipe anything down that needs to be wiped down and label them up and put them in the pantry. So we have this beautiful golden vegetable stock that is ready for making roasts and all kinds of recipes, soups, stews. You can do so much stuff with stock. So if you have extra scrap when you take care of your scraps, you can pop them in the freezer, and then when you have enough, it's super easy. You just simmer them down, and you have a beautiful, healthy, nutritious stock to work with in your meals. So that is it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.